Women are children, big children. They are childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. Schopenhauer didn't criticize women. He launched a philosophical assault that still echoes centuries later. In his infamous essay On Women, he described them as short-sighted, manipulative, governed by instinct, and incapable of rational genius. To most modern ears, it sounds like raw misogyny, offensive, cruel. But if you've ever been ghosted for a richer man, if you've ever watched her cry in front of you one day and flirt with someone else the next, if you've ever felt that a woman's love could vanish as quickly as it arrived, then part of you already knows. Schopenhauer wasn't imagining things. He was describing patterns, ancient, evolved, and hidden in plain sight. Long before a generation of men began asking, "Why does she say she loves me, but act like she doesn't even care?" By the end of this video, you won't hate women, but you might stop trusting them blindly. Let's begin. Only a man whose intellect is clouded by his sexual impulses could give the name of the fair sex to that undersized, narrow-shouldered, broad-hipped, and short-legged race. On women, you see, Schopenhauer believed life itself, a trap set by the will, a blind, relentless force of desire that drives all living things. And in this trap, he saw women not as companions, but as instruments of nature's manipulation. To him, female beauty was a mirage, an evolutionary bait designed to lure men into slavery, the slavery of lust, the slavery of fatherhood, the slavery of emotional need. He called women by nature meant to obey, but warned that they rule through emotion, flattery, and deceit. Not evil per se, but cunning. He wrote that a woman's charm was not the sign of a soul, but a biological weapon, and her love a temporary arrangement, a lease, not a vow. In their youth, women are by nature designed to capture the fantasy of some man, a step for which there would not appear to be any sufficient warranty if reason only directed his thoughts. Schopenhauer believed that male suffering was rooted in illusion, especially the illusion of romantic love. While a man dreams of passion, of future legacy, she dreams of survival, of security, and if someone else offers a better deal, she leaves. He called female affection a short-lived bloom, designed not to last, but to capture. And here's the part that stings. Schopenhauer wasn't trying to be poetic. He was trying to wake you up. Because centuries before dating apps, no-fault divorce, or sugar daddy websites, he already saw the code. He saw the biological machinery behind the flirtation, the tears, the softness. He saw the mask. And unlike other thinkers, he wasn't afraid to rip it off. He wrote, "One needs only to observe the way women dress, speak, and behave to see that they are governed by vanity, cunning, and instinct, not reason." His words are brutal, but they hit on a pattern that modern men quietly recognize. A woman who cries one day and cheats the next. A woman who says, "I love you," but scans for better options behind your back. A woman who punishes not with fists, but with silence, guilt, or sudden withdrawal. Schopenhauer said, "This is not a glitch in female nature. It is female nature. Not because she's cruel, but because she's optimized." He wasn't describing evil. He was describing evolution before science had the tools to confirm it. And that is where it gets truly disturbing. Because today's psychologists, biologists, and relationship experts, they're starting to agree with him. Nature has equipped women with the weapons and implements requisite for the safeguarding of her existence. On women. When Schopenhauer wrote that women are loyal only to their child, not to their man, people called it delusion. But modern evolutionary psychology has a word for what he was pointing to: hypergamy, the quiet law behind almost every failed relationship, every sudden breakup, every case where a man says, "I gave her everything," and she still left. Hypergamy is a woman's evolved instinct to select the highest value man available, not just physically, but socially, emotionally, financially. She wants the best deal possible because nature designed her that way. And if a better deal walks into the room, studies by researchers like David Buss have shown that women consistently rate status, ambition, and resource access as more important in a mate than men do. Women's attraction even shifts during their fertility cycle, favoring dominance, strength, and confidence when ovulating. Schopenhauer had no access to this data, but he didn't need it. He saw it in the way women flirted, moved, chose, and abandoned. Woe then to the man who sets up claims and interests that will conflict with female instinct. Women evolved under harsh conditions. Their lives depended on selecting the right man, one who could protect and provide, even at the expense of loyalty. So nature gave her tools: beauty, emotional intelligence, the ability to signal innocence while negotiating advantage. This is why women initiate the majority of divorces, why they often feel emotionally unfulfilled despite having stability, why ghosting, silent treatment, and manipulation are not rare outliers, but recurring patterns. It's not that women are lying, it's that their instincts rewrite their truths. And where man seeks meaning, permanence, and devotion, she seeks advantage. And in today's dating culture, where endless options are available at the swipe of a finger, that instinct is no longer subtle, it's accelerating. And unless you understand what she's optimizing for, you'll keep offering loyalty to someone wired for selection. And that's the part Schopenhauer screamed that men refuse to hear. She loves you until she doesn't need to. Schopenhauer wasn't just warning men about beauty, he was warning them about the power beneath the beauty. He believed women ruled not through logic or force, but through emotional domination. And today, psychology confirms this in a new language: covert power. In ancient times, a woman couldn't fight a man physically. She had to fight psychologically, with charm, with shame, with confusion. And in modern society, where brute strength is no longer the dominant force, that ancient weapon has only gotten sharper. Robert Greene in the 48 Laws of Power warns about emotional manipulators, those who disarm through charm, seduce through vulnerability, and dominate by creating guilt. Sam Vaknin, in his research on female narcissists, outlines how emotional withholding, cold rage, and silent treatment are used not as random behaviors, but as control tactics. Think about it. She doesn't argue with reason, she cries. She doesn't demand, she withdraws. She doesn't hit, you just find yourself apologizing again and again. She gets what she wants, not by asking, but by making you afraid of disappointing her. This isn't always conscious. Women are often unaware of these tactics because they've evolved to use them naturally. And yet men still walk into these traps because they've been trained to submit to female emotion. They're told, be sensitive, be patient, understand her feelings. But no one warns them that sometimes those feelings are strategic. Schopenhauer knew. He wrote that women don't conquer men through argument, but through emotion. That what men see as affection can often be a bargain. You'll think, she loves me, but what's really happening is this: you're being shaped, trained, conditioned to please, perform, and comply, just to keep the affection flowing. Until one day, it doesn't, and you're left wondering what you did wrong. But the answer isn't what you did wrong, it's that your usefulness expired. If Schopenhauer could see the modern man today, he wouldn't be surprised. He'd be vindicated. Because the nightmare he predicted, the emotional ruin, the broken spirit, the obedient male kneeling at the altar of false affection, it's already here. Modern men are trained to fail, not by accident, by design. They're taught to suppress instinct, question masculinity, worship female emotion, and apologize for wanting anything in return. They believe love is about sacrifice, that the more you give, the more she'll stay. And so they give and give and give until they have nothing left. What Schopenhauer feared most has become our culture's script: the self-sacrificing male, the romantic fool, the man who builds an empire just to offer it to someone who was never loyal to him, only to what he provided. We now have a generation of men addicted to female approval, terrified of being alone, afraid to lead, afraid to say no, afraid to walk away. And when she leaves, because she always can, they don't know who they are anymore. Schopenhauer knew romanticism was the poison. It clouds reason, it blinds judgment, it invites ruin. And now the modern male is paying the price. Divorce courts filled with men losing everything, dating markets skewed by apps, vanity, and disposable affection, fathers erased, masculinity mocked. It's because men are lied to. They were told women love unconditionally. They were told that being soft would save them. They were told the more they gave, the more they'd receive. But nature doesn't care about your fairy tale, it only cares about advantage. And if you don't understand that, you become prey. Schopenhauer didn't write to make you bitter, he wrote to make you bulletproof. His philosophy wasn't a tantrum against women, it was a rebellion against illusion, a call for men to reclaim their clarity, their control, their self-possession. Because once you understand female nature, not the fantasy, but the real machinery behind it, you stop expecting her to save you and you start saving yourself. Schopenhauer's answer wasn't hatred, it was detachment. He wrote, "The wise man places his happiness not in the gratification of desire, but in its denial." In other words, don't chase her, chase mastery. Don't be consumed by her moods, her beauty, her approval. Build a life she cannot manipulate. Modern Stoicism echoes this message that a man must never be ruled by emotion, especially when it's coming from someone else. The Stoic doesn't react, he responds. He doesn't beg for love, he filters it. He doesn't collapse under guilt, he questions it. He doesn't romanticize suffering, he learns from it. This isn't coldness, it's maturity. Because the moment you stop letting her define your worth, you stop living like a servant. And that's when you become dangerous. A man who no longer needs validation is ungovernable. He doesn't get trapped by soft words or soft skin. He sees the smile and reads the strategy. He sees the affection and still protects his throne. This is what Schopenhauer wanted: men who see, men who think, men who can love a woman deeply but never forget what she is. Because she is not your savior, she is not your therapist, she is not your mother. She is a creature of instinct, of mood, of shifting loyalty. And when you accept that, without rage, without bitterness, you become sovereign. You don't hate her, you outgrow her power. You start choosing women who respect your boundaries. You walk away when manipulation appears. You stop negotiating your manhood for temporary comfort. And most importantly, you stop apologizing for being a man with standards, with strength, with silence. Schopenhauer predicted that the man who resists illusion would suffer less because he would no longer offer his soul to something designed only to test, extract, and move on. He would love from a distance, serve without becoming a servant, give without losing his core. And that, in the end, is not misogyny. It's sovereignty. It's the ability to hold your line in a world that wants you disarmed. It's the courage to walk alone until you find someone worthy to walk beside you. So don't become angry, become aware. Don't become cold, become clear. Because the man who sees reality is the man who no longer fears it.